Welcome and thanks everyone for coming. This is a really exciting day for Carnegie Mellon, and I'm very glad to see the level of enthusiasm that's indicated by all of your presences. So my name is Nathan Urban. I'm the interim provost at Carnegie Mellon University and a member of the Biological Sciences Department and the Center for the Neural Basis of Cognition. It's my pleasure today to start things off by introducing Carnegie Mellon's president, Dr. Subra Suresh, who will begin the discussion, lead off the program today by talking about what's happening here at Carnegie Mellon in brain science and why we're doing this now. So with that, Dr. Suresh.
Wow, it's quite a group here. Thank you all for coming. The road leading up to this morning started about a year ago. When I first arrived on this campus, talking to faculty, meeting leaders of different centers, department heads, and talking about their aspirations for what we could do collectively, not something new, but something that's based on years and decades of very deep scholarship, a lot of intellectual contributions, uniqueness in contributing to knowledge, but equally generating new knowledge, and the opportunities and potential for synthesizing all of that to have a significant impact on a global stage. And one of the areas that came repeatedly in my conversations with faculty across campus was the need to bring together expertise that already exists, world-renowned expertise that can be packaged and combined in new and unique ways so that CMU's contributions can be synergized with contributions from other institutions. But equally, rather than solely relying on either federal support or one source of support, try to have a public-private partnership on a global scale. And I knew quite a bit about Carnegie Mellon's strengths, but I was just pleasantly stunned and amazed at the level of expertise that existed on this campus, and equally the level of enthusiasm from various groups on campus to bring this together. We've had 20 years of expertise in the area of neural basis for cognition, combined with engineering, computer science, psychology, philosophy, policy, and various other activities across campus, including biology, chemistry, etc. Bringing all of that together in a new and unique way was the aspiration of the faculty. So I didn't have to convince anybody. In fact, they pushed me. And in the first year, I had a lot of things to do. And I was very happy to be pushed in this direction because this is an institution that has what I would call the intellectual horsepower to contribute in a significant way. And I'm really delighted that through a lot of hard work from a lot of people, we are here today. I'm equally grateful that Dr. Tom Insel, director of the National Institute for Mental Health, is here joining. And I've known Tom from my Washington time, but he's one of the leading voices for the BRAIN initiative across the country and for the US around the globe. So I'm really delighted that he's able to join us. Why CMU? Why now? And why the BRAIN initiative? So between what I'm going to say and what Nathan is going to say next, hopefully we'll address all of this. And the faculty have already shown responses to those questions. Let's look at the global cost, economic cost. Let's start with just the US first. The cost of addiction to different substances and alcoholism to the US economy every year is north of $500 billion, or $524 billion. Mental illness, depression, and schizophrenia cost an estimated $350 billion to the US economy. Alzheimer's, $215 billion. Parkinson's, $11 billion. So $1.1 trillion estimated cost, especially with the baby boomers going into retirement, an aging population. This is a significant national issue, significant economic issue for our country. Globally, it's $5 trillion, aging population in China, in Japan, Europe, etc. So that's the economic cost of diseases associated with the brain. Human cost. If you're lucky enough to reach the age of 85, you have a 1 in 2 chance, 50% probability of developing Alzheimer's by the time you reach age 85. 1 in 68 children in the US are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. 16 million Americans every year are known to experience major depression. Every 20 seconds or per minute, 3 people in the world commit suicide. A lot of that happens in heavily populated countries such as China and India, but 3 per minute. Every 20 seconds, a fellow human being takes his or her own life. So that's the human cost of diseases or symptoms associated with the human brain. Let's just take one area, alcohol abuse and addiction. It's known to be the 5th leading risk factor for premature death and disability globally. It's #1 cause or risk factor for people in the age group of 15 to 49. So these things bring home the point of why this is so, why a leading research institution such as Carnegie Mellon should embark on contributing to a global cause. It also powerfully brings home the point that while it's a local issue, while it's a national issue, it's equally a global issue. $5 trillion globally. It not only involves the biology of the human brain, it very strongly involves the psychology of the human mind. It also involves cultural factors, social factors, your friends, your family, who you're associated with, how they influence your behavior, and how that influences and leading up to the human cost that we talked about. So it cannot just be a local Pittsburgh effort. It cannot just be a US effort. If we were to make progress, we have to look at all different angles from around the globe. And that's why, right from the beginning, it was abundantly clear to us, going back to last summer, that any effort or any initiative we try to create cannot be just a narrowly focused effort. And it has to have a global perspective, a global reach, and a global involvement in a sustained way. So what do we need? What is needed now? There are many, many things we need now because the US National Academy of Engineering in 2004 issued a report of the 14 grand challenges facing humanity in the 21st century. One of the major grand challenges among the list of 14 that the National Academy's experts recommended that we address as a human race in this century is, because it's the National Academy of Engineering, they called it reverse engineering the human brain. But nevertheless, it's studying and understanding the human brain. If it was National Academy of Sciences or Institute of Medicine, it will be called something different, but the point is the same. And so they call it reverse engineering the human brain. CMU, as Nathan will talk in greater detail, is uniquely positioned to address this from certain angles where it has decades and decades of expertise and strengths. Here are just 4 areas to think about where we can uniquely contribute to understanding about the human brain and to develop new tools, methods, and technologies that help address this grand challenge. new imaging technologies for viewing the brain. Imaging technologies also give big data. And analyzing the big data is something that CMU is uniquely qualified to do. Developing techniques that yield massive amounts of data, making sense out of the data, extracting useful knowledge out of the data, and even developing tools, hardware and software that can handle that volume of data, tools such as artificial intelligence and machine learning that help us extract information from that massive amounts of data, which is the third point. Refining machine learning and data science to accelerate analysis of massive amounts of data just in the context of understanding the human brain. And of course, CMU is very well known to be a place where multidisciplinary interactions and multidisciplinary research takes place. So leveraging multidisciplinary advances in the study of biology, behavior, psychology. In our philosophy department, we have a wonderful group, leading group in mathematical logic, bringing all of this expertise from computer science to policy to engineering to all parts of campus, business, commercialization. All of this is going to be so critical. So this is essentially the intellectual core of the uniqueness of what CMU can do to address this, this particular grand challenge. It has to be a global effort. So obviously, this is just the beginning. We've had a long history of collaboration with the University of Pittsburgh and their medical school, and that will continue and strengthen in the years to come through this BrainHub, the initiative that we are launching today, which will also include CNBC and many other activities on campus. So University of Pittsburgh is, of course, a long-standing local partner in this effort, along with the medical enterprise in the local region. But we thought it was very important, for the reasons that I mentioned, that we have strong connections and collaborations and sources of creating support for research that are global, so that we can address problems that we cannot address just in Pittsburgh alone. So for the last couple of years, we have a strong collaboration with Sun Yat-sen University in the Guangzhou province in southern China, about 2 hours driving distance from Hong Kong. And this past summer, when I met with President Zhu of Sun Yat-sen University, we talked about this BRAIN initiative, and the vice president of their medical school, or dean of their medical school, Dr. Mengfeng Li, who happens to have an MD and a PhD from University of Pittsburgh, who's here joining us today, who'll be on the panel. They were very enthusiastic, and they are one of our partners. Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore is a leading research university. Between China and India, they currently constitute 1/3 of the world population. And India, especially a young population, and India's population will surpass China's population in about 10 years or so. So that brings a demographic concentration and a connection and a research flavor and data to the CMU BRAIN initiative in new and unique ways. We were also very fortunate to have a major philanthropist in India, who's also here joining us today, Dr. Chris Gopalakrishnan. And Chris is one of the 6, Chris is over here. Chris is one of the 7 co-founders of Infosys, one of the largest IT firms in the world. And he's been affiliated with the firm for 33 years. Each of the co-founders of Infosys, including Chris, are not only pioneers in IT, they are also philanthropists, both through their company and individually. And Chris Gopalakrishnan, just about 4 months ago, established a $40 million brain research center affiliated with Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore through his private philanthropy. It's one of the largest brain science research centers in the world, especially through private philanthropy. That was joined by the Tata Group in India, which contributed about $10 to $12 million to the same effort. So that effort is a significant component of brain research in India today. And when Chris and I talked earlier this year, he very much wanted to connect CMU's initiative with what is evolving at Indian Institute of Science. In fact, CMU will become the very first beneficiary of his international philanthropy, and Chris is supporting Carnegie Mellon BrainHub to connect to the activities that it will evolve, that will evolve in Bangalore in the years to come. So we are very thankful to Chris for his contributions. Thank you, Chris. We also have collaborations from the University of Warwick. So we have Dr. Theo Arvisidis visiting here, and Dr. Judith Klein. And they are representing University of Warwick, which has unique contributions to make in several areas of data sciences in particular, bringing in local expertise from the Midlands in the UK. And also the medical division of Oxford University and the mathematical and physical sciences division of Oxford University, especially combining engineering approach and clinical approaches to understand the human brain in the context of trauma and human diseases. And they will have a unique partnership with CMU where they will jointly fund postdocs. They've already started that funding process with CMU. So these four initial entities will become our partners, and we hope that there'll be other partners who will join us. Locally, we've also been beneficiaries of philanthropic support. The Hillman Foundation, we've had conversations with them. Bruce Crocker from the Hillman Foundation is here joining us today. And they have provided support and to launch the administrative structure of this BrainHub. And we very much look forward to working with the Hillman Foundation. We also have support for presidential fellowships through the Dietrich Foundation, and which will be used to support graduate students who will be involved in this effort. We have other philanthropic support that we will announce through the course of the year, plus significant federal support. On top of it, we have support from deans and department heads distributed across campus in terms of their commitments and aspirations to hire new faculty members during the next 5 years. So our goal is that when we launch the BrainHub today, the overall volume of activity through a variety of public, private, federal, state, and local support will be approximately on the order of about $75 million over a 5-year period. This is just the beginning. And with the involvement of all the colleges and schools with connections to learning and the Simon Initiative, etc., we hope that this will become a campus-wide effort, leveraging enormous strength. And I'm very pleased to reach this point because this was one of the major aspirations of the faculty from the very first day I landed on this campus. And so I will stop at this point and invite our interim provost, Dr. Nathan Urban, to come back to the stage and talk about his perspective. We are very fortunate to have Nathan in this particular role because he's a very distinguished neuroscientist himself. And I want to express my enormous thanks to him for the level of commitment and effort that he has shown to this effort, along with people in our psychology department, campus leaders, such as Dr. Michael Tarr, who's currently the head of the psychology department, Marlene Berman, who currently directs the Center for Brain and Neural Basis for Cognition, and people like Rob Cass from the statistics department, who have played a major role in various conversations across the campus in this effort. And Nathan has put in an enormous amount of time in this, in the very short period of time he's been in this current job. So Nathan, thank you.
Thank you, Subra. So I want to spend a few minutes talking about what we intend, what we plan to do in the next 5 years and beyond by bringing together the resources and the talent and the expertise that exists here on campus and also with our partners across the globe. But first I want to say a little bit about how we got here. So Carnegie Mellon for decades has been known as a place where, with a tremendous amount of expertise in leading the field in cognitive science, also in areas of artificial intelligence, nearly inventing the area of artificial intelligence, and certainly having an incredibly strong reputation throughout all of engineering. So building on these decades of excellence, about 20 years ago, in partnership with the University of Pittsburgh, or almost exactly 20 years ago, I should say, there is a 20th anniversary of the CNBC that's coming up. 20 years ago, in part because of the vision of the R.K. Mellon Foundation and faculty who were here at the University of Pittsburgh and Carnegie Mellon at the time, was the creation of the Center for the Neural Basis of Cognition, which is a joint center between the two universities to investigate these issues, broadly speaking, the neural basis of cognition. These efforts have matured and expanded beyond the original sort of borders of these domains, and also the fields have changed. And increasingly the field of neuroscience, brain science, cognitive science, all are relying on new technologies, the application of techniques for the exploitation of big data, and we want to recognize that now through the creation and integration of efforts across campus and across the globe to apply these new approaches to the study of brain science. So recognizing all this, and with Subra's vision and energy and enthusiasm, we've begun to put together and really launch this initiative in what we hope will be a big way, which will result in Carnegie Mellon becoming a major hub for brain research across the globe and connecting with global partners. So the overall goals of this initiative, I've alluded to them already. For quite some time, we were calling this initiative internally Brain, Computation, and Behavior, recognizing that an important component of what we wanted to do was to study the brain, study computation, and study behavior, and fundamentally use computational approaches to link our understanding of the brain to our understanding of behavior. This also will involve the development of new techniques and technologies for measuring brain activity, whether that be at the cellular level or at the whole brain level, and also for measuring and monitoring and analyzing behavior, which I think is not completely untapped area, but a really frontier area. The use of the sort of modern technologies that we carry in our pocket in the form of cell phones, also inexpensive sensor arrays to monitor behavior in a deep and sophisticated way. So once we have these new technologies and we have all this data, we have all these algorithms, we also think it's going to be very important to aggregate and analyze these massive data sets of brain and behavior. And the partnerships, especially with all of the partners that we've been talking to, will provide us incredible access to some of these data sources, whether it be data sources on autistic individuals at Sun Yat-sen, or individuals with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease at IISc in Bangalore. So very important in all these aspects is the development of new technologies, the application of new technologies that have been used in other domains to brain science, and the development of new technologies. And ultimately, we want this effort to have impact across a variety of areas, including health, but also commercialization. If you look at the Human Genome Project, one of the key steps was to develop technologies that then could be used to study the human genome. We see the development of technologies and really the commercialization of technologies as another outcome. This will also have implications for policy, for our understanding of learning. We're well poised to do that through connections here at CMU with the Simon Initiative. And all of these areas, I think, will be important areas of impact for this initiative. On campus, our goal is to link many aspects of campus, many centers, many schools, many current activities in this sort of central hub, hence the name BrainHub, which will be a mechanism for integrating activities, bringing people together, and also providing some of the resources that are needed to move the field forward. So in concrete terms, we're hoping, the plan is to support postdoctoral fellows for interdisciplinary research, for the training of next generation of researchers in neuroscience, creating mechanisms for seed grant funding to facilitate collaborations both within Carnegie Mellon and with our partner institutions, Subra already mentioned the support of graduate students by presidential fellowships. We want to use these mechanisms to facilitate innovation and entrepreneurship, in part in collaboration with the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship here at Carnegie Mellon. And in the course of doing this, the mechanisms for doing this, we will also engage our partners and our local groups in organizing meetings, symposia, workshops in order to discuss how we can best position ourselves to be at the forefront of the next wave of brain science. Just a note here, to talk about some of these details, there will be a campus-wide town hall meeting next week at 4 p.m. The location is known, but I forget what it is. I believe it's a auditorium in Tepper. So we're even involving Tepper too. So as Subra mentioned, this would not be possible with a whole variety of commitments to support from philanthropic organizations. These include organizations that have directly supported this initiative and also which have supported areas, faculty and research in brain science over the last few years. Also direct and in-kind support from our industry, or from our partner institutions, commitments internally, commitments of presidential fellowships, support for facilities that are needed to do this kind of research, seed funds in the form of proceed grants, and then ongoing federal, state, and local support. So all of these, our hope is to bring all these efforts together to do something collectively that we can't do individually. So that's what we imagine, what we envision will happen in the next few years at Carnegie Mellon, and what the impact we hope we will have.